Welcome everyone to another episode of our Expert Insights Career Webinars. Welcome everyone to another episode of our Career Webinars Expert Expert Insight series. Today we have a very interesting topic, which is Make Me Wiser, Mastering ChatGPT for Learning and Growth by Elazar Pimentel. So let's dive into the topic, what we will learn today in our session. Hi, Elazar. He is there. Let's go to perfect. So in today's session, we will discover how ChatGPT works. We will learn how to write the right prompts. We will explore strategies to leverage ChatGPT as your personal teacher, and we will understand how it can increase your value as a professional. So, who is our speaker today? So let's see. Our next slide. Elazar Pimentel is a technology expert with over 2 decades of experience. The first decade of his career was spent as a regional director of IT major corporations, managing complex IT infrastructures. In the latter part of his career, he has focused on consulting, artificial intelligence, and software development. His expertise includes a variety of programming languages with a focus on Lean, Agile, and Scrum methodologies. So thank you very much, Elazar, for being here. And I'm very happy to have you between us.
Thank you. Here's my picture, just in case you hadn't seen me on the camera. Right, so we'll start talking about a little bit about ChatGPT. Most of you have heard what ChatGPT is, and we're not going to get very technical in it because that's not the aim of this webinar. ChatGPT is called an LLM. Just so you hear that term, you know what it means. It's a large language model, which means that it has been trained on a large database. Also, for your information, that database, that training that the language models use is called a corpus. So that's also information that's interesting to have now that everybody's talking about artificial intelligence. So just as a general consensus, what is it that we consider a lot of information nowadays? We have a project called Project Gutenberg. It has over 60,000 digital books. Every book that does not have copyrights right now, because they're either been given to the public by the authors or certain amount of time has gone by and they're available to the public for free. We have those 60,000 books. Those books have been written in many languages, many editions by many authors across many countries. This is one of the sources for training ChatGPT. So just so you have an idea, if you meet somebody who has read 500 books, 1,000 books, 2,000 books, you would think that person is very knowledgeable, very wise. Well, ChatGPT, less than 1% of the information that ChatGPT has is those 60,000 books. There's a website called Stack Exchange, which is mainly technical, but it has some other knowledge as well. And that one has 3.5 million answers. ChatGPT has also been trained on those 3.5 million answers. And it's not just copying and pasting. It uses machine learning in order to become knowledgeable, not as a human, but simulating human thought processes. It has become knowledgeable on that. Besides that, it has the entire Wikipedia in it, in every single language. So I'm just gonna leave it at that because I could go on and on about the sources in which ChatGPT has been trained. But just imagine that you talk to somebody who has read over 60,000 books, who knows more than 3.5 million answers, and who has read and knows by memory the entire Wikipedia.
Elazar, sorry,
Is
I
everything
think
okay, Mirta?
students are not seeing properly. Is there a way that you can only share your Zoom screen? Because apparently we are seeing also the controls, we're seeing like something weird, right? Please share in the chat what the issue is. Um, Is this
About
better?
now.
Are you being able to see properly? Yes, everyone is looking okay. And are you seeing also Elazar and me, like all good? Yes. Okay, excellent. Perfect. Thank you guys for letting us know. Elazar, you can continue.
Great. So there have been many talks about whether ChatGPT is gonna take our job. And it's a valid question. The short answer is that it will not take your job, but those people who really know how to use ChatGPT will have much better chances at getting important assignments, important positions, and important jobs. Let's make the analogy of Excel, Microsoft Excel spreadsheets, which most of us have used and have seen. When Microsoft Excel first came out, it didn't replace accountants or administrative work. What it really did is transform the role by automating repetitive tasks and allowing them to focus on strategic and analytical work. Thus, if we learn how to use ChatGPT to our advantage, that will give us an edge over the people who do not know how to use ChatGPT. Remember what we talked about. ChatGPT knows the entire set of Wikipedia, over 60,000 books, 3.5 million answers, plus basically everything that's on the web. So if we use that corpus of knowledge to enhance the quality and quantity of work that we produce, we will have a competitive advantage over other people. So in project management or product management, we always want to take this approach. The mantra in order to solve most problems, even though this is specific to project management or product management, it applies to many tasks that we have ahead of us, is the mantra: love the problem, not the solution. So before you decide what the solution is, you have to start with the problem. Thus, when you're assigned a task, instead of visualizing first, write. Do not make the decision of what you're going to write. First, think about the problem. So let's see, the problem is a specific issue that you need to address, such as an essay, a report, or a product. Then you have to set an objective, a desired outcome or goal, and it should be very specific. And then you come up with a solution which should address the original problem and achieve the objectives, ensuring that it meets the user needs. The user could be yourself, your boss, your client, either whether it's an internal client, somebody in your organization, or an external client, somebody who your organization is serving, and make sure that it aligns with the original goal. The reason why I make emphasis on this is because a lot of people decide what the solution is before they think of what the problem is. So usually at work, you're going to be presented with a problem. And then you come up with a solution. So let's go straight to ChatGPT. Let's hear the don'ts and the do's. Don't be passive. Instead, view ChatGPT as a tool to enhance your thinking, not replace your thinking, which is do not copy and paste. We will see an example of this. Use ChatGPT as if you were talking to an expert. Let's say that you needed to write an essay about 19th century history, and imagine that you have a professor of 19th history teacher. You could ask him to write the essay for you, and he will write a beautiful essay, and when you present it, you will have gained no knowledge because you didn't write the essay, you didn't read the essay, and if somebody asks you a question about the essay, you will not be able to answer it, which could cause you a lot of problems, especially in an organization, whether it's at work or whether it's in academia. If you present a report and you're asked questions about the report and you're not able to answer it, that is considered grave. It's cause for dismissal or for disciplinary actions. And there have been many cases about this, even high-profile cases about people who just copy and paste from Wikipedia, from ChatGPT, present the work. The work was not properly done. The information that ChatGPT produced was wrong. And not only was it not checked by the person who presented the work, but also if asked a question about the work that you presented, you're not able to answer it because you didn't learn anything from it. So the do's in ChatGPT, you should always provide context. Set the stage by giving ChatGPT background information, specific details, and the desired tone of the work that you're trying to get from ChatGPT. This will help ChatGPT know what you want. Ask for clarifications. So we will see this hands-on now. When you ask ChatGPT for help with a task, and you see words that you don't understand, or you see a result that you don't understand, you see the acronyms you don't understand, ask it what it means. Write it down in either a piece of paper or a digital document somewhere where you will need to learn what this is. If you ask ChatGPT to help you with a report and that report says ROI, don't just copy and paste it because somebody might ask you, what does ROI mean? And you will have to tell them it means return of investment. And if they ask you, what is return of investment? You will have to be able to explain to the person what return of investment is. If you present a report and you don't know the answer to the content of your report, that is considered grave. It is very bad indeed. So we'll have this for you. You can always come back and read the entire text. We'll get to the interactive part of the presentation.
Yes,
So
because
in this case, you're in.
no, I just wanted to say that we crafted an example because you are all doing an internship with us, and many of you may be asked to do this kind of tasks, right? These kind of requests. And so we created an example, and we're gonna, Elazar is going to go through a very practical demonstration and how to put in practice everything he has shared. So we have this profile of this organization. This organization is an African one called Retention Concierge, also known as Business Solution Corp. And they are a company that specializes in advising African businesses on technology and renewable energy investments, serving medium and large-scale enterprises across the EMA A region focusing on medium risk, long yield return projects or companies with corporate social responsibility initiatives. And let's see what your supervisor asks you. Let's go to the next slides. So your supervisor asks you, okay, as part of a corporate partnerships and sponsorship support project, the intern will identify potential business partners and recommend the most suitable ones, explaining their choices. As part of this process, firstly, they will need to conduct a SWOT analysis of our company and later on a SWOT analysis of the potential partners. Finally, they need to provide recommendations for partnerships. This is a big project, right? So how can we use ChatGPT to help us learn and produce this? Remember, we don't just want ChatGPT to do the whole work. We want to learn, develop our skills, and contrast with what ChatGPT does and enhance our work and ourselves. So we have some concrete tasks that ChatGPT could help us with. Let's focus on the first task. The first task is conduct a SWOT analysis of the company you are interning at. We have the second one, identify potential business partners. Third one, choose 3 and conduct SWOT analysis. 4, produce recommendations for partnerships. Let's dive into how we could use ChatGPT to help us achieve the first task. Elazar, all yours.
Great, Mirta, can I ask you a question?
Yes, of course.
Imagine that I am an intern in a company and somebody asks me to do this in my first day of work. What do you think would be some of the emotions that would go through me? I mean, I'll start. Anxiety, doubt are the first 2 things that come to my mind. I mean, like you said, this is a big project. How long do you think it'll take somebody to do this project? I mean, I would guess 2 weeks, and asking basically, like, if I started working at a company and I was asked to do this, I would say it would take me 2 weeks, and I would have to talk to all my relatives, all my friends, all my coworkers, all my teachers. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, and this could be something that could be for a marketing intern who not necessarily has a business background. So this could be like totally new. I could feel like, oh my God, there are so many things I don't know that I need to learn. How will I do? I don't know anything about the African market. How am I going to contact people in Africa? So I could feel pretty overwhelmed. That's why I think that something very important is to break down, right, the whole project in pieces, understand what we need to do, and then start working little by little, right?
Yes. Yet I stand by my original statement. If I started working in an organization and they told me this is what I have to do, I would be overwhelmed. So thank God we have ChatGPT. So here's where we're going to start. Task number 1, conduct a SWOT analysis of the company. And we get a URL, we get a website of the company. So my first instinct could be to just ask ChatGPT to do a SWOT analysis of this company. And I could just basically type this into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT would come up with this answer. Here's a SWOT analysis for retention concierge based on the available information. And it would give me the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats. Now let's go back to the original request that I have been made. After that, I would have to identify potential business.
Someone is asking very wisely, what is a SWOT analysis, right? So in the case you just did, The person didn't even ask what is a SWOT analysis and just gave the instruction to ChatGPT, therefore missing a very important step, which is like understanding what a SWOT analysis is, right? Excellent.
Magnificent. We go back to the ROI analogy. If you tell somebody here, you tell your boss, okay, here's the opportunity. We have a ROI of, I don't know, 3 to 4 years, and they ask you what is ROI, and you say, I don't know, that is a grave offense. So if you're asked to do a SWOT analysis and you tell them, here's a SWOT analysis, and they ask you to explain it, or somebody asks you what is a SWOT analysis and you don't know, that is a grave offense. So that is the first thing that we're going to do. So basically, we asked ChatGPT to do a SWOT analysis on this. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It is somewhat of a traditional tool, yet is very helpful. And it helps us to have a structure analysis of different topics. Thus, we can do standardized analysis in SWOT of many companies, projects, etc., and we can compare them using this standardized technology. So here we have a enhanced prompt of ChatGPT. So we had said a few minutes ago, this is the background of the company where I work. This is the tasks that I have been asked, that have been assigned. And this is where you will have to come back to this webinar after we finish, so you can carefully read that this information that we're using in this chat, in this prompt for ChatGPT, is basically a simple account of where we work, what our role is, and what it is that we're asked to do. So now we're going to switch to the live demonstration. Excuse me just a second.
And something important that we just saw in the previous, can you go back to the previous slide? Something interesting.
Yes.
Let's take a look. In the first paragraph, as Elazar said, they are giving some context on the company, right? And they are sharing what the task is. But take a look at this important stuff that we didn't see in the first prompt. He is giving clear instructions. Please help me with the following. Do not output any text yet. First, briefly explain what a SWOT analysis is. Stop and let me read it. Ask me when I'm ready to proceed. This is the part where you are trying to understand what a SWOT analysis is. This is where you enhance your understanding and you're not just copying. You're making sure that you are learning and you have the tools to later on understand what ChatGPT is doing. Once I'm ready, conduct a SWOT analysis of my company. Then once I understood what you're gonna do, then do the task I need. And then before showing the output of the SWOT, ask me questions to tailor the output of my needs. Elazar is going to show how by doing this, we are getting a totally different enhanced result. Yes, let's watch this.
Yeah. Yes, and let me add to that. One of the most important parts in point 1 is ask me when I'm ready to proceed. One of the many things that could be very overwhelming, you can try this yourself. We'll give you a Google Drive link in this presentation where you can go and look at this text. You can try this exact same post without the ask me when I'm ready to proceed part. And it can be very overwhelming because you will basically get a 37-page answer, which is very, very difficult for us to grasp all of that information, because basically you would have to either print it or read it, or paste it on your computer and read it, and it will be just a lot of information to take in. The other important part is number 3. Before showing me the output of the analysis, ask me questions to tailor the output to my needs. These are 2 things that I would suggest that you take away from this webinar. Ask me when I'm ready to proceed, and before showing me the output, ask me questions. Try this in every prompt that you do, whether you're trying to get it to help you write a memo, whether you're trying to help it program to a computer program, whatever you do, tell it, ask me questions, and you will notice the difference is night and day. So now I'm going to go to the live demonstration. Yes, everybody seeing my
Yes,
Mirta,
I can
can you
see
confirm?
you. Yes, I
Great.
can see it.
So we're going to, so if when you go back to this webinar and you see the text that we talked about, this is the
Someone just shared, wow, just try this on a project I am working on. The difference is glaring. I'm supposed they're asking about asking
I,
ChatGPT these questions.
I'm very, very excited.
All the
So
questions you
let's give
have,
it a
guys,
try.
share them on the chat, right? Please share them on the chat, and then I will ask to Elazar.
Okay, confirm, Mirta, that you're seeing my ChatGPT screen, please.
Yes, everything all good. I'm just having my camera off.
Great.
Yeah, but I'm here.
Okay, so here's do a SWOT analysis of, as we saw, here's the SWOT analysis, and it's basically useless. And now we're going to give our second prompt a try.
People are asking if this is available in the free version. Yes, this is available in the free version.
Yes, ChatGPT is going through some changes right now. The difference between the free version and the paid version is basically how many resources of it you can use. So if you use it heavily, it will stop you at some point and tell you you need to take a 1 hour or 2 hour break. If you have the paid version, then it would allow you to basically use it all day long. So now we have the second prompt, the one that you can find in the presentation that we're going to share with you.
Right, so you put the enhanced prompt telling you to stop and ask you when you can proceed, telling the chat to ask you all the questions. Let's see the difference. And you asked him
just
first what a SWOT is.
Correct. The question is, do not output any text yet. Briefly explain what SWOT analysis is. Stop and let me read it. Ask me when I'm ready to proceed. And you can see here that that is exactly what it did. Just as somebody asked on our a little while ago. Here we have a SWOT, an explanation of what the SWOT is. And here ChatGPT is telling me, please let me know when you're ready to proceed. I am ready. Please proceed. Now that I know what a SWOT analysis is, it's going to continue to the step number 2 in the questions that I asked them. Let's remember, question number 2 is, once I'm ready, conduct a SWOT analysis of my company, and I gave them the link. And I said, before showing me the output of the SWOT analysis, ask me questions to tailor the output to my needs. So here, when I said I'm ready to proceed, great. Before conducting the SWOT analysis for retention concierge, I need to ask you a few questions. Strengths. And here is the way that you're going to answer ChatGPT. You're going to create a number for each one of the questions that ChatGPT made for you, and you're going to reply to these questions. What are some of the corporate competencies, unique selling points of concierge retention? Our talent. What resources? I will say expertise. 2, weaknesses. What are the areas where retention concierge struggles or needs improvements? Have you been in any recent setbacks, challenges of companies face? Are there any gaps in the resources of capabilities that hinder company to perform? We will say we are not growing as fast as we would like. Opportunities. What are the trends in technologies of renewable energy that, okay, this is a great chance for us to learn something new. Here we can do, I need help with this. So this is always a valid response. Do not assume that ChatGPT knows everything. It doesn't know up-to-date information. You can always ask ChatGPT to go to the internet and look for information. And this is something that a lot of people either don't know or do not keep in mind. So this is the perfect way to use it. What are the opportunities that you might have? I don't know. Go to the internet, look for it, and let me know. What are the threats? And point number 4, we can say regulatory changes because it's an example. Once we answer this, now it's searching the web for emerging technologies and renewables. And now it's doing a SWOT on our company using the information that we have provided as feedback. I see we're a little bit short on time, so I'm going to switch to a version of this question and answer, which you will have access to in your in the drive that we're going to share with you. And as you can see, this is the exact same thing we just did. We asked a question, it showed an analysis. I said, I'm ready to proceed. It asked me questions. I replied. And this is one of the main things that I would like you also to take away from this webinar. You don't know what you don't know. So it is after you have been chatting with ChatGPT for 2 or 3 hours, or even for a week, because here on the left, as you can see, you can have many chats saved with ChatGPT. You can ask it. Let's say that you've been working on an essay for a week. You can say, What have I not asked that I should have asked? What, and the other question is, based on this conversation, what else do you think I should know? So let's say that I've been talking to ChatGPT about an essay that I need to do on philosophy, and I've been talking about critique of pure reason from Immanuel Kant for hours. If you ask ChatGPT this question, based on this conversation, what else do you think I should know? ChatGPT will give you an amazing, surprising answer, something that basically you have not thought of, and that is what you want. You want not only to use ChatGPT to replace Google, but to use ChatGPT as an expert, as somebody, as a teacher. Imagine you're talking to a teacher who can give you information that you would not get anywhere else. So remember, you can ask ChatGPT questions. You can ask ChatGPT questions to ask you questions, and you can ask ChatGPT, what have I not asked you? What else do you think I should know? Those last two things, believe me, they can make all the difference in the world. So we're going to fast forward to this
Yes, and
part
let
here.
me stress on that because
After I have,
usually, especially when we are working for a company, and if our supervisor is an expert, someone who already knows, probably they have some expectation of our work, right? Even if we're an intern or like in our professional career, we may not know everything because we are humans, right? And this is precisely where ChatGPT comes in to help us enhance our knowledge and learn more. And sometimes, just like you said, we don't know what we don't know. That means, right? Like there are assumptions, there are things happening that we, even if we are very creative, very intelligent, very trained, we just missed. Those blind spots can be a problem, right? And ChatGPT can come here and help us with these things, right? What haven't I asked you that I should have asked you? What I should have considered that I didn't? What tell me something I don't know? And these questions, Elazar, I think are game changing, definitely.
I agree. They have certainly helped me a lot, and everybody who I've talked to about this, they see it is a difference. They basically what people tell me is I used to use ChatGPT instead of Google. Instead of Googling something, I would just ask ChatGPT, and now I understand it's like talking to a history professor or a math professor, as I said before. So here we have this part right here is another great thing. After we've gone through all the questions, which again, you will have a copy of this transcript, we'll say, please generate a full comprehensive report of the SWOT analysis and create a link that I can download in Word format. We have provided this report. So you will see the quality and the level. We're running out of time, Mirta, so just let me know whenever we need to.
Yeah, we have 10 more minutes, 15 if
manage the time.
we can, yeah, 5 more minutes. I think it's okay. 15 more minutes.
Right. So once, again, you will have this transcript, so do not worry. Once I have answered all the questions that I asked ChatGPT to ask me, once I have asked ChatGPT to tell me the things that I don't know, I can ask it, please generate a full report, a comprehensive report of the SWOT analysis and create a link where I can download it in Word format. And here ChatGPT did it for me.
Is
Created
this
the
available
document,
for the paid version only, or can we do this for free, the downloading?
you can do it for free if ChatGPT is not too busy. If many people are using it at the same time, you can just ask it to output text on your computer, and then you can copy it and paste it. Copying text from ChatGPT, the best way Let me know, Mirta, if you can see this copy icon here.
Yes, yes, I can see.
So this is the best way. If you just copy it like this, you are gonna have to, it's kind of difficult to know where the response ends. You just go to the copy button and you can copy that. So once the report has been generated, I ask it to do a search for 3 potential business partners, because if you go back to the original slide where it all began, this is one of the things that are we were tasked to do. So here we see the ChatGPT search six websites, and it came up with 3 potential partners for our task. And I say to ChatGPT, using maximum possible ROI, which, as I said, is return of investment, in medium risk, please choose and perform a SWOT on it. So now we can do another SWOT based upon the refined results of the information that we have produced so far. So now we have a SWOT of the company that we chose based on all the work that we've done. And we have the conclusion. Here's another important prompt, which again, you will have a transcript on it. Please generate a comprehensive report recommending potential business partnerships. The report should include detailed information about the analysis and justifications for each recommendation. The report should be in a Word document format. It should have an introduction, methodology, analysis, recommendation, conclusion. Please make the output as a downloadable Word document containing the comprehensive report. And here I have finally the report, which will give me 2 final products. First, the SWOT of my own company with the research regarding my position in the market, and later the report of the company that I have chosen to partner with the SWOT and the detailed analysis of that company that I was helped by ChatGPT in picking. I will share this so we can go through it very quickly, but just so we can have an idea of what we're talking about.
Someone is asking, could you use that report as the final version, or could you use it to make your own version? Just because there might be plagiarism.
Can you see the report now, Mirta?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll answer that question with the following way. It is not impossible for ChatGPT to specifically quote information. Usually that is not the way that it works, even though that can happen. But the main takeaway here is that you cannot just print this report and send it and give it to somebody or email it to somebody. This report, you will need to read it, understand it. Anything that you don't understand, you need to copy and paste back to ChatGPT or Google, or use a paper dictionary, whatever makes you happy, and understand every single paragraph of this document. If you decide to take this document and rewrite it in your own words, which is the way that it should be, because just imagine that somebody reads this report and says, wow, I just hired a genius. This is the best employee this company has ever had. I'm going to promote this person to the head researcher of the company. And you cannot keep up this level, this output, or there's no internet and they sit you down and ask you to please write a report based upon these 3 books. You cannot scan those 3 books and upload them to ChatGPT and write it. So you will need to read this report, which, as you can see, is an amazing report. I couldn't be able to write this report. And basically, if I had to do this without ChatGPT, it would probably take me about a week of work to do this report and this report, which is a SWOT on the energy. The level of detail that you will get is very technical indeed. So you need to read this, put it into your own words, and create a new report. Read the report and make sure that you are able to answer any question about the report.
But if you
Excuse me?
No, I think it was just a
Was
mic
that you,
ad.
Mirta?
You can
Okay.
continue.
Perfect. Great.
We have a lot of questions.
Okay, so let me just go real quick
Yes.
to make sure that we haven't forgotten anything here. The main takeaways based upon what we've talked now. We don't know what we don't, we only know what we know. We don't know what we don't know. So we need to ask ChatGPT always to tell us what didn't we ask and we should have asked, and what should we know that we haven't talked about. Tell ChatGPT, tell ChatGPT.
Elazar, your
This,
camera
and
went
you will,
off.
pardon?
Your camera went off.
It's probably the internet connection. Can you see
Okay.
the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, here we have the links to the files that we just worked on. So you're going to get, like I said, the results, the resulting files, and the entire transcript. And here we have a bonus for you, a gift, which is a much more extensive work done. If you see the final report, I believe you will be very impressed by the report. And you will see that it was entirely based on just asking ChatGPT to ask us questions. So now, Mirta, if you think we're ready, we can move on to the questions and answer section.
Yes, someone will have so many questions, so I need to pick some. Someone asks, should each chat be trained from scratch? I mean, if I work on a project and decide to start a new conversation, do I need to start all over again?
Yes and no. And let me, so ChatGPT has memory about the things you have talked about in one conversation, in one of these chats. So let me just share real quick ChatGPT. Thus, if you have been talking to ChatGPT about great recipes for making a cake, ChatGPT will have, just a second. So if you're talking to ChatGPT about, let's say, companies in France, can you see my ChatGPT, Mirta?
No, yes.
So if you're talking to ChatGPT about companies in France and best opportunities to invest, and you suddenly start asking about investment opportunities in China, ChatGPT will take into account the context of your conversation and might continue to think, even though it'll understand that you're talking about China now, all the questions that you've asked before and all the conversation that you've had will influence the answers that it gives you when you're talking about investments in France. It will know that it will assume if you wanted to make investments low risk, short term, in renewables, renewables, if you start talking about investments in China, it'll assume that you want the same thing in China. So it's best to start with a new chat. Also, this is it's great that you asked this because this is very important. Let's say that you already know the three companies that you want to work with, and you can take the three websites of these companies that you want to work with, if they're good quality websites, or you can even go to specifically press releases of these companies, and you can upload the PDF with the press releases or any relevant information, and you can start the conversation with ChatGPT on solid information. So you can tell it, please read these three websites of these three companies that I'm going to ask you questions about. And then you begin from there, from scratch, with a clear sleeve and with the basic information that ChatGPT will need to have in order to answer your question.
Amazing. We have another question. How likely is ChatGPT to be biased? If someone is using it for an essay, help or to help with a project, and it was asked to look into journal articles, is it likely to only show a specific side of an argument?
Yes, you can tell ChatGPT the result that you want. So you can tell ChatGPT that you want to write an essay proving that Argentina is the greatest soccer player in the world. And
We don't
you
need
can ask it
ChatGPT to
to
tell
give
us
you
that, but yes, okay.
we have people from Colombia on
Yes, I'm sorry.
on the call, so so we can ask ChatGPT to arrive at the result that we want. Keep in mind that ChatGPT is a company and it works for profit, and it's owned by OpenAI, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And OpenAI has corporate responsibility. So if you ask ChatGPT to to help you hold or defend defend a point of view that is unethical, it will likely refuse. There are ways to get around that, and I'm not going to tell you. But there is a limit to how horrible ChatGPT will turn. If you think we can go to the next question.
Yes. Is ChatGPT output copyright free, and can ChatGPT use scholarly sources?
As I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, what we would think of as a database, the database that ChatGPT uses, or artificial intelligence models, LLMs, uses, it's called a corpus. The corpus of ChatGPT, it is not public knowledge. It is not public information. So we don't know what ChatGPT knows, what its sources are. There are other LLMs that are not as good as ChatGPT, like Llama from Meta, from the company that owns Facebook. There are other models where you can actually just download the actual model and train it with your own data. So let's say you're a pharmaceutical company, you work for a pharmaceutical company, you have enough money to buy the hardware to train an AI model with all of your own research, and only you can access this, you can do that. On ChatGPT, let's say you can take 10 scholarly papers that you have access to, you can upload them using the insert document on ChatGPT. You can ask ChatGPT to read this 10 documents, and then you can start working on a report based on those sources you provided, or they can even be websites. and you can specifically ask ChatGPT to use precise citations for the sources that it is using. Once you have provided the sources, so you can tell it to use APA or whichever field of study or country, academia, whatever is the best notation technique that you use. You can tell it to use APA to quote or to cite the sources that you're using. So I hope that answers that question.
Yes. Let's take just two more questions and then we'll wrap up because we have so many questions. People are so, I think we will need to invite you for follow-up, but let's just answer these two last questions. Do you recommend feeding it custom instructions in the user profile settings, like the industry you work in, the type of answer you prefer, or just best to leave this empty?
This is just my personal experience. If you use ChatGPT, you will see that it has basically 4 things that impact the way it responds to you. First, what you just mentioned, where you tell it, I am Elazar, I grew up here, I live here, I speak these languages, I do this, I do that. And then I'm talking to ChatGPT, let's say I've been talking to ChatGPT for 4 hours in English, working on a report, and it just starts talking to me in Spanish. And I'm like, why are you talking to me in Spanish? And they're like, oh, because you said you were born in Argentina. So it has never really helped me to tell it what I do for a living. If I am on a fresh chat and I see that ChatGPT starts explaining to me basic things about information technology, I tell it, I am a systems engineer. I'm an expert on AI. You don't need to explain this to me. It's to me, it's much easier to deal with those nuances when they come up than to try to have ChatGPT set up. So I was saying there are 4 things in ChatGPT. First, where you tell it who you are. Second, are you seeing my ChatGPT now, Mirta?
Yes.
Okay, so let me see for those who don't know what we're talking about. Here, where you tell it, it says custom instructions. This, in case we went too fast, you go here to your eyes, to your icon, and you say customize ChatGPT. Here, you tell it about yourself. Down here, you give it specific instructions where you have to answer each one of these questions, how to format, how casual or formal you want it to be, etc. Since I spend a lot of time writing essays, code, classes, etc., I had the idea of telling ChatGPT to be funny, so I don't have to talk to a machine for hours and hours at a time. It has not helped me because I've been very busy and ChatGPT is making jokes, and I'm like, it doesn't help me. So as you see, I've deleted this. And then there's the third part of ChatGPT, which is memory, where ChatGPT will remember things about, and as you see here, it thinks that I work at a company called Retention Concierge, and I want to identify special businesses, etc., based upon the conversations that we've had. So next time that let's say I am creating, I don't know, a market research for a drinks company, for a soft drinks company, it's going to take into account that I am interested in African businesses for renewable energies. So I just clear the memory and start from scratch. That's my experience. People might have different experiences with it, and you will have to decide. So that's number 3. And number 4 is starting a new chat, which was one of the first questions that we've had. Because let's say I have a chat where I've been talking to ChatGPT about a project at work, which has to do with renewable energy. And I've been talking about it for 3 weeks. If I use that chat and start talking about regular cars, it will take into account the entire context, and it will not give me the results that I wish. Thus, to me, it's best, as I said, to start from scratch each time, and when I see that it's doing something that doesn't help me, to tell it to stop.
Amazing, Elazar. To wrap up, I would like to share, I would like you to share if we need to take away from this webinar some key concepts. What is that? For our audience, okay, in this webinar, you should keep in mind these three things about ChatGPT and using it for maximizing and enhancing your learning process and becoming wiser. What is that?
First of all, be assertive. So as we said in our prompt, tell it, don't talk to me, listen to me. Do not produce code, do not produce output, do not produce tests. Ask me questions. What have I not asked you? So challenge it. Do not just be passive. Do not just use it as Google. So search from a Google mentality to the mentality that you're actually talking to the wisest person who has ever walked the planet. Because in some respects, that is what ChatGPT is. So ask it questions, stop it, prevent it from doing what you don't want it to do. Ask, what is it that I have not asked yet? And ask, out of this entire conversation, what do you think I should know that I haven't talked about, that I've never mentioned? And don't always, Mirta, are you seeing my ChatGPT right now?
Yes.
Okay, so here I'm going to show you another trick. What is ROI? Well, because we're running out of time and ChatGPT is having about
Yes.
it's going slow. If you ask it, what is ROI? And you, okay, here, what is ROI? It didn't reply. I can tell it, I can ask it to regenerate with the button. You can ask it, you can say, I don't understand. Explain it to me as if I was a 5-year-old. I am an expert businessman. I need to know at an advanced level what ROI is. Explain to me the different kinds of ROI. I don't understand this part of your answer. Rewrite this in another language. You can also do that. Keep that in mind. You don't need to go to Google Translate or anything. And when you translate, you can tell it, you can say, so imagine here I have this answer, okay? I can now say, translate this to French, or I can say something even better. Write this answer as if you were a native French speaker from Paris, because as we all know, people speak differently from every in different cities. So what it is doing now, it's not translating, it's not like Google Translate. It is actually going through all the French papers, all the French websites, Wikipedia in French, every single book in French that it has access to. It has analyzed how French people from Paris write, and it has written this document as a French person would, which is very different from translating the document.
Okay, Elazar, I think you've shared so much. I could have this session continue for many hours because there are so many things you've told us, and I think you could definitely teach us. So I think we will invite you again so we can continue exploring this. I'm very happy you joined today. I'm very thankful. Our audience is also super thankful. And everyone here, thank you so much for coming here, for staying a little bit longer. We made it a little bit longer because there were so many questions and we were so interested. Thank you, everyone. I wish you a great day, wherever you are in the world. Remember, our next session is going to be about how to create engaging content on your LinkedIn profile. So therefore, please improve your LinkedIn profile. We will send you the link, the webinar, so you can, before the session, improve your LinkedIn profile, one of the biggest networking, job searching tools you can have, a LinkedIn profile. And talking about LinkedIn profile, we have shared Elazar's LinkedIn profile. Send him a connection message. Tell him where you know him from. Hey, Elazar, I attended your webinar. It was really insightful. And when you receive your amazing certificate for having participated at 3 webinars and you participated at this webinar, also tag Elazar so he knows that you attended and that you received your amazing certificate. So I wish you all the best, everyone. Have a wonderful day, wherever you are in the world. Thanks for being with us. Thanks, Elazar, for being here. And I love this webinar.
Thank you.
So enjoy wherever you are in the world. Bye-bye. Ciao. Auf Wiedersehen.
Ciao, ciao. Thank you so much. Au revoir.
Bye-bye. Hasta la próxima. Bye, everyone. Wish you an excellent day.